Also talking about matter, and I'll segue into this a little bit. We mentioned before that CES has a few different places. So we were at the Phoenician for the smart home stuff. At
Yeah.
the convention center, a lot of companies, they take up a lot of room, right? And not just in consumer electronics. AI is now a big thing. There's cars, there's a whole bunch of appliances and that. Samsung this year have decided that it's just getting too squished everywhere, and they did their own thing. They went out at the Win, and they had their first look event at the Win. We were very appreciative. They invited us out to have a look
Yeah.
there. We got to see a chat with one of Samsung's smart home people about AI in the smart home, how that could be used in the future to potentially save on bills, or I was a bit skeptical about that talk
Yeah.
for the minute, but we'll see. It's good that Samsung are having the conversation, right?
But I will say that that was a talk that I was expecting to go there and just it absolutely suck, and then it was interesting. Right?
Yeah.
I think I wasn't paying attention pretty much the whole time, which just doesn't happen easily.
Yep.
Uh, and I think they brought up some good points, and they talked about what's important and stuff like that. And again, just to summarize, a lot of it came down to, hey, when we involve AI with a lot of these things, now you can start getting more efficient with things, right? Like we understand that, hey, stuff, for example, behaviorally,
Hmm.
you are leaving work, you're probably on your way home. Okay, then you probably want to, I don't know. Obviously, I mean, we look at this as a normal thing, but like, okay, adjust your thermostat and blah 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 blah. But they're taking that a step further, putting that into their appliances, right? So whatever that looks like, I think I think there is a place there. The problem always comes down to what are you doing with this data, right? And so they're working with a third party around this data, and who the concept of privacy did come up, and I was actually very excited to hear a company like Samsung say, "We don't want your data."
Mm.
Right? We to do some of these things, obviously, like the whatever chips are in the fridges and stuff aren't powerful enough, so we do need to rely on this third party cloud compute vendor who is also there as part of that panel, by the way. And they were basically like, well, I we have this thing, but we don't, we're only collecting what we need to be able to do the task at hand. And then we're not storing it and we're dumping it, right? And then they might trend on it and stuff like that, but they're not learning off of it. They're not selling it and that kind of thing, which I thought was pretty bold coming from a company like Samsung, who normally we would associate, not maybe not specifically Samsung, but normally we would associate a company that large with
Yeah.
trying to monetize your privacy or your data. So I was actually pretty impressed to hear that that was the case, to the point where I'm bringing it up on a recording, right? Where that was, probably not what they intended us to do, but
I just get concerned with Samsung. Like they are putting advertising on their fridges, right? Like,
yes,
and that
absolutely.
was always oh no, it's just a screen. Like that's here we are, right? Like so
Yeah.
who knows where this will go in the future?
Exactly, and stuff can change, right? So
Um,
that's the
yeah.
asterisk there.
But Samsung Smart Things, so talking about the smart home side of things, they're going big on Matter, and they're actually showing off a lot of Home Assistant friends at their display. I saw Sansero were there, Nuki Smart Locks. We got to fiddle around with a smart lock
Yeah,
on their door there. Kara were there in the Samsung Marina. So yeah, and I think they're would have a good chat as well. They're adding in Knox to their smart home ecosystem. So Samsung Knox is a like a protection layer in their smartphones that allows like secure communication between devices. Also locks down parts of your phone. So they're adding that sort of technology into the smart home to the point where I believe it was described as if one device detects that another device is acting um, in a irregular pattern, it can sort of isolate that device from the smart home network.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that was cool.
yeah, which is nice.
Uh, Now, Samsung also was showing off some of their concept devices, which were cool. One of those was a smart mirror. I was putting the sunscreen on my face, and it would tell me where I had missed putting the sunscreen where I hadn't applied sunscreen yet, and it could also recommend me the right makeup to apply, or the right
Yes.
tone of makeup to
You're
apply
the
for my
perfect
skin.
tone for your yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So clearly that was, I think that's just a very much a concept at this stage, but it was cool to see, like a screen working behind a mirror. They also had a digital vinyl record player. So the
Oh, yeah.
vinyl looked like a screen, and it could tell you like the cover art of what was playing. And then the vinyl would sort of go backwards, fold down, and then it would, play your music and stuff. So I don't know if that's actually going to come to market or not, but it was cool to see, a bit of mixing of Samsung's, screen technology, their
Yeah.
audio technology, yeah, and smart home technology all coming into the one. But what I was
Yeah.
really impressed by, um, randomly, not really smart home related, but in the TV space, was their new soundbar can now use AI to mute parts of the audio stream. So the example they were showing was, like a soccer game or a football game for
Yeah.
those in the UK, and you've got commentators, you've got the crowd noise. So you can actually go in and ask Bixby to say, "Hey, like mute the commentators," or bring up the volume of the crowd. And right
Yeah.
there, AI
It
kind
worked
of it worked beautifully. Now, this was a demonstration, of course. So of course, Samsung's going to
for
put the
sure.
best foot forward. But yeah, I can imagine, like not that I watch much sport on TV, but like watching an Aussie rules game and just muting those annoying commentators,
Yeah.
um, be fantastic.
Or even sometimes, a big complaint in my household is like just you're watching a movie and sometimes it's like the voices are very low, right? And you're like, hey, bump
Yeah,
up the voices so it's a little better, right? And so I can hear. Um yeah, so that was pretty cool. And some of their TVs actually looked really nice, except
yeah,
I think the really really nice ones are quite a bit out of my price range. But sounds like they're taking some of their like very high end TVs and starting to bring that down to the commercial level rather than like a big
the
uh
consumer level.
sorry, consumer level rather than a big commercial level. So
Yeah.